Good afternoon, all. Thank you for joining us at the Chelsea Sharks team announcement presser. With us, Director of Rugby, Neil Powell. I'll now open the floor for questions.
I'll jump in if that's okay. Neil, how are you guys coping with the cold weather there, and what are your expectations for the game tomorrow? More specifically, the rugby than the weather conditions.
Yeah, afternoon, media. It is a bit different to what we used to now in Durban the last few weeks. The pitches are frozen, so even training was a bit of a challenge in terms of getting a pitch that we can really train on, and it's not slippery because of the fact that it's frozen. I think obviously we would love to get some good points from this game, and I think the reason for it is just to try and get ourselves as high up as possible on the table, so that we can hopefully get a home round of 16 and home quarterfinal. I think if we can achieve that, it will give us a massive boost towards our campaign for the Championship Cup. Because I think you do have an advantage when you play at home, and especially in the knockout stages. So, and I know there's a lot to play for, even from a Harlequins point of view. I think they need to secure some points in this game to make it through to the round of 16. So they will obviously be motivated and ready to go flat out and see if they can get some points from this game. So I think we obviously are prepared for a massive battle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marnus, followed by Kaniso.
Hello, Neil, it's Marnus. Actually, if you don't mind me asking, how long will Ongi and also Buta be out? And is it shoulders, or what is actually wrong with them? Actually, if you don't mind me asking, Neil, please, man.
Yeah, again, hello, Marnus. So Bongi, it's obviously a bit of a different situation with him. He's got a shoulder injury, but he will also join the box for the compulsory rest period, and then the training camp basically after this game, or after the Edinburgh game. So I don't think he will be back in time for us for the Edinburgh game. And then Buta as well also got a shoulder injury that I don't think we'll see him on this tour and playing in that Edinburgh game. So he might be back for the Stormers game that first weekend in February.
Kaniso. Kaniso, if you're not around, Ken, you can go ahead, followed by Daniel.
I'm here. Sorry, I'm here.
Go ahead, Kaniso.
Sorry, guys. Good afternoon, Neil. Good afternoon to everyone. Neil, just take us through how you feel about this Makazole's previous suspension, and whether you got a glimpse of what actually happened through with the contact to the eye that he's said to have made in the Bordeaux game.
Yeah, again, I think in terms of the footage that we really sent to them, I think there wasn't any clear clarity on whether he did what they said he did. But again, I wasn't part of that hearing, so I can't really comment on what happened there. It's unfortunate that he's suspended for 2 weeks. We obviously would have loved to have him for this game against Harlequins, because it is an important game for us. And like I said, I think unfortunate that he's suspended for 2 weeks, and obviously something that we got to accept, because it's something that we can't control at this stage. And again, I wasn't part of that hearing, so I can't really comment on the outcome of what happened there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken, followed by Daniel.
Thanks, how's it going?
Ken, we can't seem to hear you.
Sorry, just changing mics. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. Tahana Vashni, how's it, Neil? Neil, what did you learn from about Harlequins when you guys played them at Kings Park?
Yeah, I think, Ken, just from our side, we realized that they are 80-minute team. I think the way they came back in that last 20 minutes when we were fairly in a comfortable position in terms of the scoreboard. Now they came back in that last 20 or so minutes to really make it a close game. And I know we had a yellow and a red card at one stage that obviously almost gave him a bit of motivation and got them to get back into the game a little bit. But I think that's one of the things we said is they obviously 80-minute game. They love attack, so they want to have ball in hand, and I think it's our responsibility to almost starve them of ball position and almost force them to defend more than attacking. So I think there will be a different team than the team that we played against in Durban. And I think basically just because of Marcus Smith that's back in at 10 position, I think he contributes a lot to how they attack and what they want to achieve from their attacking game. And it is a bit unpredictable. And so it's going to be important for us to, well, firstly try to starve them of ball position and not give them attacking opportunities, and especially in our half.
Daniel, you can go ahead.
Thanks, Nashi. How's it, Neil? Welcome to sunny London. Just a couple of questions. One on the travel. When the South African teams were in Super Rugby, it was so difficult to go over there because of the time zone. Do you notice anything from a training point of view, from a recovery, physicality, any difference there when coming to Europe?
Yeah, listen, Daniel, a good question. I think not really, although there's still a 2-hour difference. So for me, yesterday was my first day in London. So getting to 8 o'clock in the evening and you're really tired because then it's 10 o'clock in South Africa, and then waking up at like 5 o'clock because it's 7 o'clock in South Africa already. So it is playing a bit on you in terms of the time difference, even though it's only 2 hours. But I think in terms of recovery, I think not so much. I think the guys has arrived here on Wednesday morning. They had the whole of Wednesday to recover. We did do some recovering modules with them to make sure that they're ready for the rest of the week. Then had Thursday, yesterday, today, and then tomorrow we hopefully be ready for the game. But I think it does play around with your sleeping patterns, just because of that 2-hour difference. So you do wake up a bit earlier than you would have loved to. But again, it's hopefully we will adapt to it. We'll adapt to it in the last 2 or 3 days to make sure we're ready for tomorrow.
Do you fly direct?
Yeah, we went Durban, Joburg, and then Joburg straight to London. Yeah, which is obviously helps us a lot in terms of the traveling fatigue as well. To go through Doha and then have a 2 or 3 hour layover at Doha and then come Doha London is always going to be tricky. And I think we're thankful that we were able to go direct and not have to go through Doha again.
I bet. Sorry, that actually was just a follow-up. The second question is about the competition in general. I remember listening to you at the start of the Quins game, how it was new territory. You were kind of having to explain to the players of the significance of the competition. Have they bought in? I mean, a lot of people here in Europe are bemoaning the fact that the South Africans have come and they feel like it's diluted it. It seems like the South Africans have added quality. How have the players responded?
Yeah, I think the players have responded really well, and I think from the start of the competition, especially the box, the likes of the Ebens and the Sias, they really wanted to be successful in this tournament. They really wanted to win this tournament. So I think from the start, I think we saw it as something that we would really like to win this competition. I think it was just a case of understanding the culture of this competition and almost the flow as well. How important it is to get your home knockout games when you have that opportunity. How every single game is important, and even for a team like Saracens now going to Edinburgh and play them. There's still a lot for them to play as well. So I think every game counts in this competition, especially if you really want to, I wouldn't say make it easy in the knockout games, but almost just to assist you in the knockout games if you can get those home knockout games.
Thank you. Go well.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Nick, followed by Michael.
Thanks very much, Navashni. Hey, Neil, thanks very much for your time. I just wondered, in terms of training sessions and stuff, how much have you had time for since the boys arrived on Wednesday?
Again, I think for us, Monday and Tuesday back in South Africa, we try to do most of our work. Tuesday, the guys had a recovery session, and Thursday was our performance day. But again, I think the whole focus for us going into this game was to try and get us the players as energized and fresh as ready to to make sure that we have that energy on the field this tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, I think much of the preparation, or a lot of the preparation, we did actually Monday, Tuesday. Thursday's performance session was really good. I think also for the guys to get used to the conditions, a bit of the cold air into their lungs, and we really tried to push them and get that intensity up a little bit for them to get used to almost breathe when they're tired in this cold weather. So I think the preparations have went well. Today's captain's run was also more of a walkthrough than a captain's run. And I think clarity and detail for us for this game was really important, and I think the guys are really on the same page, and hopefully that they can implement everything that we've trained this week. Hopefully they can implement it tomorrow on the field.
Great. Were you at the stoop this morning?
Yeah, we were there. They obviously still got the dome over the field, so we weren't allowed to do the captain's run at the stoop. But we did visit the stadium to see and just get a bit of a feel of it. Change room is pretty small, to be honest. I don't know how you fit 23 big blokes into that change room, but we'll try our best to get them all in the change room. Yeah, so we're very excited about the game. We know it's going to be very tough, and if we want success from this game, we have to go out there and make it happen. It's not just going to happen.
Sorry, I know these are dull logistical questions, but have you been staying at the Lensbury this week? Were you able to train on those pitches by the river?
Yeah, beautiful facility. So we were fortunate that we can train at Lensbury. I think the top pitch furthest from the river, because I think it stays in a shadow for most of the day, was still a bit frozen. So we were fortunate that they allow us to train at the bottom field closest to the river. A bit better in terms of just the underground footing. Amazing facility. And great to have trained there and prepared our team for this game on that facility.
I know you've been forced into 2 or 3 changes that maybe you wouldn't necessarily have wanted to make, but could you just talk about the team selection and the balances and the thoughts that you've had putting that 23 together?
Yeah, again, I think it's our strongest possible team that we can get onto the field. We do have a few injuries in the backs that force us to make some changes. So obviously with Mapimpi being suspended, we felt like Takir can bring something for us, especially if the pitch is nice and dry. He's a elusive runner, and Taki can bring something for you that will create opportunities for you. With the absence of Werner, with still struggling to recover from that knee injury. Marnus obviously played last weekend already, so he's still in the side. And then, basically just Buto that's injured with that shoulder injury. So, I think we're fortunate to have somebody like Fassi coming back from injury and can fill in that 15 jersey. So, and then it's Bongi that's out, and then Kieran van Vuuren will come in Bongi's place. And then Dan Jooste will then be on the bench. So I think happy with the quality we have. And like I said, I think really important game for us this. So it's also important for us to select the best possible team that we can get onto the field tomorrow afternoon. So I think happy with the squad.
Could you tell us a little bit about Fassi? What for those who are seeing him for the first time tomorrow up here? What are we going to see?
Yeah, listen, I think Fassi is an exciting player that if you give him an opportunity, will run everything back from the back. I think he's really exciting. I think he's also really excited to be back on the field. It's been a few weeks for him due to his ankle injury. And I think he will bring a massive communication and confidence, especially for the back three. I think he's very experienced in managing the game from the back and also covering that backfield. And I know with the likes of Takir, it's maybe not as experienced, and Marnus, I think he will give them a lot of experience in terms of his communication in the backfield. So we're very fortunate to have him back, and we're also excited to see him back on the field tomorrow.
Sorry, Neil, I don't want to hog you, and I'm aware that others will want to talk, but one more question. I was down with the Quins coaches this week, and they're talking a lot about the kicking game and the chasing game, and particularly with Lukanyu. I just wondered, in a kind of general coaching sense, how you see that development of the kicking game from the restarts, from the kickoffs, and almost how they've become almost a third set piece.
Yeah. Listen, I think for any team, the kicking game is massive, and you got to manage it well, and it's often determined by the conditions that you play in. When it's a wetter day and there's more rain and the ball is difficult to handle, then it's obviously more of a kicking game where if it's a little bit more dry and you're up in the high field in Joburg or Pretoria and you can run the ball a little bit more, then you will have a different way of managing your kicking game. So it is obviously vitally important that you are very accurate in your exits, whether it's a 50-meter receive or a line out in your own 22. So that has become a very crucial part of the game. And then also your general kicking game, whether you're using it as a defensive tool or as an attacking tool. It's become a massive part of the game. And I think everybody's got their own almost plan and principle in terms of their kicking game and how they want to manage the game from a kicking perspective.
Great. Thanks, Neil. Look forward to saying hello tomorrow.
Just thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And then Ken, there was a hand up. I'm not sure if it was an all virtual hand, but Michael, you first.
Thanks, Navash. Neil, there's been a real intensity about the Sharks in the last month and a bit. I suppose more so with the Heineken Cup, maybe because it's just such a big tournament and something new. But how is this process being driven? Are you driving it, or without singing your own praises? But are the Springboks doing it? Is it a team thing? Just where's this intensity coming from? Because it's obviously serving you guys very, very well.
Yeah, Michael, I think it's definitely a team effort, and I think for me personally, it's always about standards, but not just when we're playing the game, but how we train as well. Because you can't expect to hit the intensity of the game if you don't hit that same intensity in a training session, and maybe a little bit more as well. So, but it definitely the senior players in the team definitely drives that whole process of intensity and standards. The likes of Evan Eptzebeth, he spoke again in the huddle this morning in the captain's run. So obviously, SIA standards wise, I can remember, I think it was Tuesday in Durban when we ran against the rest of the guys that wasn't part of the 23, and when they scored, how upset SIA got. So it's definitely a case of it gets driven by the whole system, not just the coaches, but even the senior players and most of the rest of the squad as well, and that's the way we want to play. We want to set standards high for ourselves, and hopefully we can reach those standards and that intensity that we would like to play at.
Thank you.
Ken, do you have a question?
No, I'm good. It was asked during those 5 in a row. Yeah, thanks.
Perfect. Are there any further questions? If not, thank you very much, Neil,